Yeah, so I wanted it, when I built that, I wanted to look like it came from the factory that way, and I've kind of mirrored the shaping and the kind of the depth look to it. Obviously it's not quite as deep, but I wanted it to look as factory as possible, because a lot of the guys at the time were doing three dash pod up here, but they were like just stuck up on top, and it just like and then years later was the 350Z, I think it was, that came out with the factory ones that were up there, and they look like that. It's just like that, it just doesn't look right to me.
Yeah. The new Z has those pods up there still, and they're seamless like that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Hopefully you're not so full we get you to throw up. And actually I'm more concerned with warming up the tires than I am warming up the engine. Once I'm driving for like two or 3 minutes, that I feel like the engine's warm enough, I'm not too worried about it. But I have Goodyear Eagle Supercar 3s, which are the factory tires for a Camaro SS.
Oh jeez.
And it's a summer tire, it's a performance tire, so it can, if it's not warmed up, it'll get a little squirrely. It's enjoyable for sure. I was like half throttle.
That's one thing I really don't like about my car is, like, if I want to get rowdy with it at all,
Yeah.
I have to wait until it gets to full temp, because the tolerances on the, like, if you had a sheet of all the different
The oil.
no, rod bearing tolerances.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It has, like, I think it's like third on the list for tightest rod bearing tolerances. So, and then yeah, you add 10 W60 oil, so you really gotta let it get up to 10.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And this is 95 miles an hour just cruising around a curve like nothing.
That's pretty crazy in a 4-door freaking.
Especially this generation. Like,
Yes.
this generation was not known for handling.
If you go to any like car shows or car meets, I'd love to go.
Yeah. I've been trying to do more now that I'm not like done with the truck, but much more done with the truck,
Yeah.
where I can actually like take it out.
Yeah, I feel that. Like, we have this 3-day weekend, so after this weekend, we should have enough of the Jeep done, because we need to finish the gas pedal and the 2 seat brackets, and then enough of the Jeep is done to drive it around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
There's no lights or anything, it's not technically street legal, but for the first time in like 5 years, we can
Right.
actually enjoy it.
Yeah, the first time I actually really drove this truck, I drove it to Ennis, and I had like done like little quick test drives and stuff. That was like the first like real drive, and drove down to the track and just did a hang out for the day. Like almost 40 miles an hour, I think 38.
No.
It's like, but yeah, so I drove down to Ennis and expected in like 2.5 years because it was down for the build.
Yeah.
But we'll get into first gear this time. Ready?
Yep. That's
And again, in a 4-door truck.
what did we get up to there?
It was top of third, would have been pretty, maybe just a hair over 100, 105 maybe.
Yeah, she moves.
It's fun. and you know, people are like, oh, you're gonna supercharge it. It's like, man, it's got such a good balance right now. Like, I can drive it, I can enjoy it, but it's not so much that like I can't get traction, that I can't, you know, it's enjoyable as it is. Would I want more power? Sure, but
I'd say high 400 I think would be the perfect balance for this truck.
yeah. But it's like you get to a certain point where it's like, then you just you break more stuff, and it's, you know.
That's what I was thinking about, like high 400s. You're not overly stressing anything.
I'm not worried about the engine, but it's like,
yeah, all the drive components. Yeah.
you didn't know this road was back here. This is a fun little road too.
Yeah, this road looks like it'd be real fun in my car.
I actually haven't been back here since I did the front suspension. So.
Oh, yeah, you hear this thing, you would think, oh, you know, it's a Mustang passing by.
Right.
Yeah, you wouldn't picture this.
Yeah.
I love that.
So it's pretty well mannered though. I mean, it doesn't get really squirrely. If I said, if the tires are cold, it'll bark in first and second gear, and it'll kick the back end out. So it's like, it's one of those where you kind of have to be patient and warm up the tires. But other than that, she's pretty predictable.
Oh, yeah.
Not gonna make that.
I think there's something to be said, and a lot of people, I think, don't value predictability enough.
Yes.
Because I'd rather drive a slightly underpowered, predictable car than an overpowered death trap.
Yeah, and there's been several different enthusiasts that I watch that say that the car is more enjoyable if you can drive it at the limit of the car versus a car that's like a hypercar that you drive at your limit. If you really are in tune with the car and you're driving it at the limit of the car, then you're kind of flirting with that line of danger. Whereas like the opposite, you drive a hypercar and it's like it scares the ever living out of you, you know. And it's like it's just kind of one of those things. Like you feel like you can really enjoy it if you're driving it at the limit.
I think that's why Miatas are so popular.
Exactly. And it's like Miatas aren't fast. No one claims a Miata to be fast, but they handle really well and they're really light and they're really nimble. And
It's fun.
they're just point and shoot. You win races in it. I think kind of the same thing is true with like the Scion FRS or Super BRZ or
Toyota
that whole
E6,
family.
Yeah. Ooh, that pop. I think that's the only thing I kind of want on my car is not. I hate the super obnoxious burble tunes, but
Right.
like if you get an occasional pop like that,
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yep. I drove in the hill country down in Austin as this like side drive, and there was like this long downhill, and I was just coasting it, and it was in third gear, and it was like blah 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 blah, and then all of a sudden it goes pow pow pow. I was like, God, it was so ridiculous. It sounded like a freaking shotgun going off. I was like, oh my God. It was like I felt like I was gonna break something. It was so loud. It's like that is not. I mean, it's cool, but it's kind of like having a two-step, I guess. But it just, and I think that's just a characteristic of how free-flowing this exhaust is, and being on the 85, I think it does that too. You're running more fuel, a little bit richer,
Yeah,
fatter mixture.